Kalvin, you made your debut for Sheffield United off the bench against Middlesbrough. First start at the weekend against Portsmouth. How special was it for you just to be back out on the grass and playing football again?
Yeah, it was very special. Obviously, very exciting as well. And yeah, it was a tough game. Play against Portsmouth. They made it difficult for us, to be fair. In the first half, my lungs were gone, to say the least. But then I kind of got my second win in the second half, and we ended up coming away with 3 points, which was really good as well.
How was the body after that game?
Yeah, I was struggling for a couple of days after. 3-day DOMS I had, so I was very stiff for the next 3 days. But luckily we had a couple of days off, and I went to Centre Parks with the family, so that was nice.
Is it quite challenging when you've not been playing a lot of football to be thrown into the thick of the Championship?
It depends really. I've got that used to not being as involved as much that I just wanted to be thrown in anyway, regardless. So I'd rather been thrown in and been put in the deep end rather than like working my way in. But yeah, Chris has been really good with me. Asked me how I'm feeling and made sure that if I'm feeling anything body-wise or uncomfortable or anything like that, he's always there to ask me the questions, and yeah, I've really enjoyed it since being here.
How valuable do you think your experience can be, having played at the very highest level, to come into this group with a lot of young players? How valuable can that be?
Yeah, I think if I was another player and I'd come into the dressing room and seen what I'd won and where I'd been and what I'd done, I'd feel like it'd be a leader in the dressing room, and I maybe might not be a leader in the dressing room as such, like shouting and being loud, but I think on the pitch I try to lead in other ways.
How difficult has the last few months been for you, not playing as much football as you would have liked?
Yeah, obviously, when I played at Ipswich last year, I got injured towards the end of the season, which was a killer for me because I felt like I was getting back into the rhythm. And then to have a long injury over the summer, been in football over the summer, and then obviously been at City from the summer, I knew that my minutes would be limited because of the situation at the club, and I'd not played much anyway while I'd been there. So I was kind of just working on training well, getting as fit as possible, and looking towards January, and yeah, I ended up in Sheffield, which it's close to home, and it's a nice place, good people, great dressing room, great lads, and I think we can, towards the end of the season, we could go on a bit of a run and hopefully make the playoffs. The
Yorkshire Perlo back in Yorkshire.
Yeah, to be fair, not many people have called me that for a while. But yeah, it's nice to be back home. It's nice to see some familiar faces and just be back enjoying life and football as I was before.
You mentioned familiar faces. Patrick Bamford in particular, was he in your ear a little bit saying this is the right place for you?
Well, funnily enough, it was before it was early December. And obviously I was thinking about going out on loan, and Pat texted me and he just messaged me and said, Chris is asking me to message you to see what you think about coming here to play a few games. And at first I was a bit like, I don't know, but then as the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, why not? It's not going to harm me in any way. It's not going to do anything to my confidence. I want to go out and play as many games as possible, and I knew that if I'd probably gone to a Premiership team, it'd took me a little bit longer to get into the team, and they have less games, so I just wanted to play as many games as possible, and yeah, spoke to Pat, and to be honest, I barely spoke to Chris. I just made my mind up, spoke to my agent and said I'd rather go to Sheffield than anywhere else.
Is it nice to feel that love though, because clearly Chris Wilder has been an admirer of yours for a long time? Yeah,
I think he said to me in the first meeting we had, he said he's a good judge of character. He feels like he can look at somebody and judge them by the way that they are and how they act, and he said that's the reason he brought me in. He obviously brought me in to play football as well, but he said he looks at the people first and see what he's like. And I've always admired the way that Chris manages. I've always admired some of the stories I've heard about him, and I've always admired the way that he is. But yeah, and I think it was just a perfect fit. I think I've come in and he's introduced me to the group, got me in playing straight away, and I'm just looking forward to playing, like I said, as many games as I can before the end of the season.
Are you confident you can get back to your best level? Because in fairness to you, I guess it's been quite difficult when you're not playing week in, week out to hit those heights.
Yeah, I think any player that's been in my situation, I think they'll first and foremost they'll come out and say like not playing's been, you know, the major reason for them maybe having a dip in their career or whatever. And I just feel like staying idle, like so many players have done it where they've stayed at the club for so long and not played, and then just careers fizzled out, and I didn't want that to happen. And yeah, I just felt like, you know, for me, I've still got some life in me. I've still got some football in me to play, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next 3 or 4 years.